What have you done to deserve love like this? There's a love that permeates this universe. It's divine love, agape love, the love that permeates all of creation. And we believe here that you don't have to do anything to deserve that and to have that. But I also know that not every human being feels it, and that the quality of our human relationships, the way that our human relationships could mirror that divine love, has all to do with us. We think that it has to do if we just attract the right partner, or we get the right work relationships, or have the right friends. But all of that has all to do with us and our energy, our consciousness, and our belief about love and our deepened experience of love. And that's what we get to talk about today. Are we a love receiver? Are we willing to receive the deepest, most profound love? And my whole theory, I'm going to give it away right now, is that it's there for the having if we will just receive it. And my whole theory today about this is that we ourselves put barriers up in the way of love's absolute flowing energy. Now, no matter what your relationship status is, it is Valentine's week. And I really think that even though Valentine's is an amazing holiday, and I've done some research on its history, and I love all the fanfare, and I'm a romantic at heart, and so I love the flowers and the cards and the gifts and the red and all that good stuff. I know that it can feel a little surface-oriented. It can feel a little commercialistic at times to some of us. And I also think that this time of year presents us with an amazing opportunity to have a deeper experience of the true nature of love itself, not only in our romantic life, but in every realm of our life. So no matter what we're doing, if we've been in a long-term romantic relationship for years, or we've been single for a long time, or we're looking, or whatever it might be, there's an opportunity for love to have its way with us. And I'm passionate about teaching that message. I'm passionate about expressing and calling us to that divine love. And so whenever this time of year rolls around, I have to do my best to presence myself to the true north, the true nature of love. So one of the things I like to do is I have certain readings and passages that I use. The first one I want to share with you is there's a book that's been written about children's perspective on romantic love. And it always makes me giggle. And I've brought my 3 favorite ones today from kids who talk about love. The first one says, love is like an avalanche where you have to run for your life. You can feel that way, I know. This one was very likely written by a very young Barry Ebert. Love is the most important thing in the world, but baseball is pretty good too. Yeah, football is pretty good too. Okay. And then this last one, very clear. I'm not rushing into being in love. I'm finding 4th grade hard enough. Very wise children, right? Very wise. So they always open my heart, make me giggle. My very favorite quote in the world that I come back to often from Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. I just love this quote. Someday, after we have mastered the winds, the waves, the tides, and gravity, we shall harness for God the energies of love. Then, for the second time in the history of the world, man will have discovered fire. Ooh, gives me the chills. Love that. Reminds me of that passion, that aliveness, that light that happens within us when we've discovered that deep love that is our true nature. And lastly, from our founder, Ernest Holmes, we had a great quote in the readings, and I will add to it this quote. Life is not only where we are, it is what we are. It is in as well as around us, and its whole impulsion is love. The universe does not rest on the shoulders of love. Love is the real lodestone of life. Love is the lodestone of life. And so I think we crave love, don't we? Most humans really crave a deep walk with love. We want to experience it. We want to express it. We want it to burst out on the planet. Just think about it. If the love that exists in this universe could have its way through human beings, we could transform this planet. And each one of us has a responsibility to do our part, to be a willing receiver of divine love and share it with those that we share this life with. The people we know and work with and live with every day, and the people beyond whom we may not know personally, but that we can extend loving kindness to and loving respect to. Even people we don't agree with, we can still extend love out into this universe and be a part of the transformational energy that can continue to heal this planet, or we can stop it. We can be a block to it. We can keep it from happening. And so what we have to do to be willing receivers of love, firstly, is to understand that love that we yearn for so profoundly is right where we are. Though we've had human relationships that couldn't fully express that divine love, though we've had moments where we couldn't fully see and experience that divine love, it doesn't mean it's not there. It doesn't mean it's still not the truth of us. We're in essence like fish swimming in the ocean of love, looking for the water. Where is it? I can't see it. Where is it? And I'm immersed in it. I am it. It's in my very body and soul and essence. And yet we yearn for it. We can't quite find it. We're like a human being who's looking for light and is walking in a bright, well-lit planet, but wearing blindfolds, layers of blindfolds that have to do with our biases about love and how lovable we are, have to do with the experiences we've had and the conclusions that we've drawn, and that we continue to feed ourselves about the nature of love and our lovability. And each time we heal one of those moments, a bit of the blindfold comes off and we experience a little more light and a little more light and a little more light. But we have the opportunity to claim that love and release ourselves of that darkness. We are like a camera, that in a camera, the actual aperture of the camera, the more we open the camera up, the more light can come into the machine and reflect itself in the images that we take. And depending on how much light that we let in, the image will shift. And we are like that too, depending on the aperture of our own love light, our own awareness of love. The more we open to it, the more the images of our life, the experiences of our life, then benefit from that loving energy that is our true nature. It's all about us. We've tended to think in a sentimental way that love was some lucky force that came to some and not to others, that some people could have more of it, that some people are more blessed, that some people, God has sent them great love. But the truth that we all get to face at some point in our emotional and spiritual maturity is that I am sourced in living love at all times. And if I want more of it, I've got to be more of it. If I want more of it, I've got to open to it. If I want more of it, I've got to surrender my beliefs and ideas that keep me from having it. And upon recognizing that, we can then step into it more fully. But we've got to court that presence of love. For most human beings, that is not as natural as it sounds right now. We've got to court it. We've got to become willing to look for it, to seek it out, to do the good work that it takes to live and surrender more and more and more into love. And sometimes that can be very challenging work, but it ultimately has a beautiful benefit that blesses us and blesses the world. I want to bring someone forward today to share with us a little bit about love and courting that presence of love, because I think that this quote from Rumi really says it all. Rumi, the beautiful poet, says, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it." And we have a wise person in our midst. Just like those children that I read from earlier in the service, we've got some wise children here at Mile High Church and some very wise teenagers. And I'm happy to say that we have one of our wise teenagers who's grown up here at Mile High Church. And she's going to come forth and share with us a little bit about love and her experience of this. Please welcome Ms. Jillian Ray. Hi, Jillian. Thank you so much for being here with us today and stepping up in front of this wonderful group of people and the millions who are watching online. And can you tell us a little bit about what we've been talking about? What have you found has been beneficial for you in understanding about opening up to love in your life?
Well, I know that so many people struggle with this, like resistance to receiving love or putting up barriers to receiving love. And I think that the first step in removing these barriers is understanding where this comes from. And I believe that it's kind of a societal ingrained belief in ourselves that we should not accept love or that we don't deserve to accept love.
Yeah.
But it's important to note that this doesn't come from a place of not deserving love or being incapable of accepting love, because it's always there. You just have to open yourself up to it, because it develops a feeling of being not worthy, which is not good.
Yes, yeah, self-worth. So if we have beliefs about our self-worth, that we're not lovable or we're not worthy of love for some reason, that's a block, isn't it?
Yeah, for
Keeps
sure.
us from it. Have you found any ways to allow that block to fall away from you? Tell us the secrets, please.
Well, I think that it's very important to recognize that when you come to this place of receiving love is where you experience this great personal growth and are able to receive love that benefits you and others. Like, I was at summer camp, and it was this amazing love-filled environment. And I think part of that was because everyone was open, everyone was comfortable with each other, everyone was receiving love, and I was the most authentic I've been there because of that receiving love.
So you were able to see the loving environment and then set aside your story about being unlovable and then let it in. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you just have to trust that you deserve it.
Yeah, and it's a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, and then one more thing.
Yes. Bring it on.
My grandmother, when she was struggling when my grandfather was in the hospital, her minister at her church, she came to her and she shared this message that I thought was really important. Her minister said, "Let the people love you," because she has this personality of being a caregiver. She's a mother, she's a grandmother, she used to be a nurse, and so she didn't feel like she could accept this love, or she shouldn't. She should do everything herself. But when she allowed herself to receive all that love, she became a new person. She experienced incredible personal growth and was able to get through it.
Ah, that's beautiful. Beautiful story. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Great job. Yeah. See, so wise. I mean, that is truly what Jillian is saying. One of the greatest openings to love is just to let people love us. We put our hands up to people's love of us because, as she's saying, we feel unworthy. And so what would it be like this week to set that barrier down, to court the presence of love and to consider the possibility of saying to myself, I am worthy of love. I am worthy of love just by being who I am. And courting the presence of love means that we look for it. We look for the signs and the indications of love. We remind ourselves of the loving people who are in our lives, of the love and the beauty that's around us. I love this quote from author Joel Goldsmith. He says, "If there is not enough love in your life, it is only because you are not loving enough. And that means that you are not tapping the infinite source of love within your own being. Let that love flow out. Love this world. Love the sun, the moon, and the stars. Love the plants and the flowers. Love all the people. Let the love flow. That love which flows out from the infinite storehouse within you will be the bread of life which will come back to you." So that's the first access of love. Courting that presence is about allowing ourselves to see it and be present to it and acknowledge it and own it and claim it and allow ourselves to be a source of that divine love. And there's something that I think is really important also about allowing ourselves to be a good love receiver. And that's embracing the imperfect, perfect love. Imperfect, perfect love. Here's what I mean by that. I noticed many years ago when I decided that I was ready to find a more permanent love relationship, romantic relationship in my life. I was a young adult. And so I went on pursuit of that. I wanted a monogamous relationship. And I kept entering in relationships, have issues, and then we'd break up. And then I'd enter in a relationship, we'd have issues, and then we'd break up. And then I started realizing that I wanted a monogamous relationship with a person, but what I was really doing was having a monogamous relationship with my issues. I was very attached to my issues, to my perceptions about myself and my love, and what I was capable of, and what was possible for me, and that the common denominator of these relationships that would happen over and over and over and would end virtually the same way was me, and that maybe I could change, and if I changed, would that possibly change the quality of the experience I was having in all my relationships? And as I did that work, which honestly usually means forgiveness work, it means courageous conversations. It might mean some help from an outside source, like a friend or a coach or a therapist. It might mean journaling and focus and a little discipline to bring myself back time and time again from my stories to my truth, from my stories to the truth of my divine nature, the love that lives within me. And I had to embrace that. And I think what happens for us is that we often will feel that initial, especially in the romantic realm of life, that initial overwhelming attraction to someone. And it's love, but it's also that invitation from the divine within us to heal our stuff. And therefore, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've noticed that sometimes the people I'm most attracted to piss me off the most. I think that's kind of how it's designed in a way. It's life reaching out and answering the call of me that says, I wish to experience love. And in comes someone who reflects back to me where I've got a barrier to that. And that barrier looks often like conflict or me not feeling loved or appreciated. And it doesn't mean that I have to stay in a relationship with that person forever. But what I think many of us miss the opportunity to do, which is to do the holy, sacred healing work that shows up in our lives through those perfect, imperfect, loving relationships. Yep, it's with our friends. It's with our family for sure. It's with our lovers and our beloved ones. And it's often the most juicy in that romantic realm because that is where we most desire to show up in all of our vulnerability in every way, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And it's impossible to show up that way if I've got barriers. If I've got barriers to the love that I can be and express within me, I will not be able to show up as fully, and that not ability to show up as fully will reflect itself back to me in conflict and discomfort, in the need to work on those issues with these partners in my life and to have these conversations. But what many of us do the minute that all starts to happen is we want to run. I just want out of here. I don't want to do this. But it's a holy, sacred invitation that can come to us when we're willing to do that work. So in order to court the presence, in order to embrace the imperfect, perfect love, there are some things I have on my list today for us to consider. First of all, of course, spiritual practice. What does spiritual practice do? Well, I think spiritual practice has the opportunity to allow us to bask in that divine love, to remember in our practice this love that permeates all creation, including me and my heart. And I open my heart and my soul up more to the divine love that is seeking expression through me and to me in my spiritual practice. I think that I love to read about love. I will go on the search for powerful readings about divine love and this love that I'm talking about, to feed my mind and remind myself of this love and this true nature of love. I will find poetry. I love the poetry of Rumi and my boyfriend Hafiz. I love Hafiz. His poems truly lead me into that beautiful space of divine love. I also think it's important to make a list of things that I love about myself. I love that I'm compassionate. I love my sense of humor. I love whatever it might be. And in those moments when I'm in that place of doubt about my lovability, I go and I remind myself about this list that I've created for myself and remind myself that even though I'm in a space of healing, I am this compassionate person. I am this place of love. If you are in a partnership, a romantic partnership of any kind, I think it's also important to keep a list of what you love about that person, so in those moments you can go back to it when you need to. Yes, I remember why I'm here. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. And have that available to us. And I think that it's also so important in life in general, but especially in our most important relationships, to do our holy sacred work to stop taking things so personally. It's kind of an egotistical thing to think that people are actually thinking that much about you, that they want to offend you that much. Most people probably aren't thinking about us near as much as we think they are. And so not taking things personally is a freedom that allows us to breathe and just be in the presence of life. And it allows us to consider the work we need to do to stop taking things personally, to forgive people for things they say that push those buttons in us. And the last one is to consider giving up the fairy tale. We've been virtually raised in this Western society. I'm sure they have these kind of stories all over the place. But right now, I'm blessed that Mark Pino, who works on our foundation as our donor development relations person, recommended a book to me that I really love called Legally Ever After by Pamela Mascarrett. It's using the fairy tale of Cinderella to help parents understand the importance of planning for their lives in this way. And I was thinking a lot about the fairy tale that we've been told is that you will someday grow up and you will find someone who will be your perfect match and you will live happily ever after. And then we feel betrayed because happily ever after includes not always agreeing on things. And my mother used to joke about, they don't tell you that the princess compulsively shops on Amazon and won't keep the castle clean, right? They don't tell you that part. They don't tell you that you're not going to agree on how to raise your kids or where to take them to church. They don't tell you these things that get in the way of people's relationships. But if we had a more realistic version of a fairy tale that took into account that you are likely going to be the most attracted to the people who can help you heal the most. Wouldn't that be nice to know? If we knew it in advance. So I thought, well, somebody should write that kind of fairy tale. So I wrote it. And so I'm going to close with a fairy tale. Sit back and enjoy your milk and cookies, kids. And let me read you my fairy tale. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a group of human beings. We'll call them the Littles. The Littles were influenced by what they were told and what was demonstrated to them about the nature of life and love. The Littles were shown numerous ways this life could be amazing and joyous, and they were also shown how this life could be challenging and sad. The Littles were shown patterns and ways of being that were easy and worked well. And they were also shown difficult patterns of living that could be challenging. All these experiences greatly contributed to how the Littles perceived life as they grew into adulthood. Every decision was influenced by these experiences, and all the while, their true nature of divine love sought full expression in their daily living. Yet at times, the examples they witnessed conflicted with their true nature. The littles yearned for their inner truth to be freely expressed and experienced. So, what did they do? They sought out help. They had relationships with other beings that demonstrated their understanding of love in all sorts of realms within family, friendships, work, and their network across the globe. Their deepest desire was to fall in love. They longed for support to help resolve their decisions and mindsets that blocked them from accessing the true love that resides within them. This often meant they were unknowingly attracted to those who would trigger their unhealed wounds. When this happened, they felt betrayed and hurt by love. Little did they know, this was divine love, seeking to heal their hearts and to be fully expressed. The littles, who were the happiest and most successful, started to understand and welcome when their loved ones pushed on those wounds. The littles began to see this type of experience as an invitation to heal, an invitation to let go of what they learned that did not allow for true love to thrive. And the more they were able to let go, the more space opened for deep, abiding, and connecting love. Upon understanding this new reality of being human and receiving love, their happily ever after finally arrived with joy, a joy of continually letting go of superficial love in favor of the greater divine love. The end. Thank you. The good news for me about this is that's not the fairy tale. I think that's the truth for us. And if we can tell ourselves this story, if we can be open to this story, we can fully receive the love that life has to offer us all the time. Let's pray together. I invite our practitioner prayer partners to join me by standing right now as we step into this field of divine love together, recognizing that it is the field that exists always and in all ways. It is the true nature of life itself, and it is continually beckoning to each one of us. The invitation is a constant invitation to let go of our limiting ideas and beliefs about ourselves and about love for the sake of the divine light and love that is right here, right now, fully and wholly available. And so I accept and affirm in this space of prayerfulness, from this place of oneness that we share, that we walk forward, each one of us, into the life that we live, the pathways, the relationships, the activities, the places that we go, and the people we encounter. And we live out this divine love more fully and completely in the week ahead. That we feel that invitation into this light and into this love, and we are called, and we say yes. And in that saying yes, we courageously and joyfully stand fully present to the love that lives in us and as us. In all our relationships, in all our encounters, we are love, we are love, we are love. I accept this, I affirm this, and I just give thanks for this as I release this now into that law that makes it so. It is done, it is so, and so it is. Amen.